and how much minimum percentage is available and which is suitable for the generation. And we know that solar energy is a direct form of energy where you can get different kinds like conversion of light energy into electrical energy, heat energy into electrical energy. So there are variety of forms are available. But when you come to the part of a wind, we were not so aware. Wind is a direct form or an indirect form. Yes, wind is again it acts as an indirect form of solar energy because uneven heating of the atmosphere is responsible for your wind energy to flow in the system. So that's what they say, kinetic energy associated with movement of large masses of air. This is like a technical term. Kinetic energy associated with what? So this is completely depend upon how much uneven heating is happening. Atmosphere means, see, every region has its own climate criteria. So now in my particular area, I have a coldy climate, means it is a cloudy nature. Maybe in Subramani place, it may be little bit higher than my temperature. In Sharat, Kerala, there is some other different temperature. So that uneven temperature or uneven heating of the atmosphere, which is done by the sun, is creating the difference in your temperature, density, and the pressure. And that's what we say. It is an indirect form of solar energy. And in indirect form of solar energy. But when you come to the part of solar energy, we know that there is a problem or a disadvantage. Only half of the like half of the day, in the sense 12 hours we can generate power. In the changes in voltage like temperature we can generate, but when you consider a wind, there is no restriction, 24 hours you can go for it. But in this case also we have to consider so many parameters like what is the minimum speed and how much minimum speed of wind is required to generate the electricity. Is all the wind is good for generating? So these things has to be carried out. So these are the parameters we are going to study day by day in your fourth module. Okay. So here again, when you consider why we have to go for wind energy, there are so many advantages: clean source, cheap source, eco-friendly, and it is freely available, right? Input is freely available. Next, we have to harness the system. Wind energy is harnessed. How we are going to harness? By using a wind turbine. So we already know, yeah, most of the people have seen how wind power plant will be. It look like a fan. The blades will be used and it has to rotate. Who is responsible for the rotation? The wind. That for a rotation of a blade, it's not like our fan giving a simple input, it will going to rotate. It need a huge source for rotating a blade because the weight of the blades will be tons together. Okay, so then wind turbines for rotation, you are creating a mechanical energy. Then mechanical energy should be converted to electrical energy. How it is possible? You are going to get electrical energy just by using a machine, that is nothing but a generator, which converts your mechanical energy into electrical energy. So the generator which is connected with your wind turbine, we call that as a aero generators. We call that as a aero generators. Okay, very slow winds are useless. Of course, nothing can be done by the simple wind waves. But having no possibility of power generation means there is a range. What is the minimum range? See here, minimum range has been specified 5 meter per second to 25 meter per second. There are two cases. One is less wind is also useless and high wind is also very dangerous. So I cannot go for a lower wind or high wind. The only suitable wind for your generation, that is at the moment of a wind turbine, so that you can generate the electricity, means that is moderate. Moderate speed of winds is typically of 5 meter per second to 25 meter per second is considerable or favorable for your movement of a wind turbine. So generally, the wind generation is going like it is already generating started from past decades. You can say that 100 years you can consider. First it started in Iran. Okay, now everywhere it is in a small scale. Productions are happening. So minimum, if you are saying yes, my wind power station, I'm connected to the grid system. The minimum generation should be 9,000 terawatt hour per year. So 9,000 tera is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 12. So minimum this much of energy should be produced, then only you can connect to the grid system. Okay. Then global wind energy has become mainstream energy source, and that is an important player. Of course, wind energy is one of the biggest source of producing the electricity, and you can find this implementation of wind energy across the globe in 70 countries. Okay, it's not a small count, it's a big count. Almost 70 countries are going through that. I think these factors also we have already discussed. One is availability, how much it is there, the rotor blades of a wind turbine, then falling prices of electronics, means devices which you are using for conversion, controllers and all we are using it, right? Then variable speed operation, because your electrical generator should be in a position to operate for variation, that is 2 meter per second to 25. So there are 5, 10, 15, 20 different scales will be available in the case of speed. So your generator should be in a position to switch to the system, different to speed for a different operation. Then improved plant operation, pushing the availability up to 95%. Because we said wind energy will be available throughout 24 hours. So we are expecting 100%. Some here and there, let us assume 5% of useless wind is there to produce the power. No power. Then I can say 95%. Then economy of scale, the turbines and plants are getting larger in size. When you go for a implementation in a larger scale, I cannot use a small blades like our fans. So I hope you can see that to carrying that blades itself, the vehicle, the trucks will be too large. It will be in meters together, not of 1 meter, 2 meter. It is of 200, 300 meters of length blades will be used in a plant for generating the electricity from wind. So that is usually installment cost is very high. Your component cost is very high. So you have to check it out economically. When I can complete that amount which I paid for the installation and when the revenue generation or a profit will start, same as your solar energy expected payback system, here also we guys are going for a term called short energy payback or energy recovery period of about 1 year. So this will going to tell you, so in how many years your installment, your amount which is given at the initial stage has been completed, and when you start taking the profit of a system. Okay, these are the major factors we have to consider. So in the yesterday class, we discussed again origin of winds. So in that, we guys have started up with global, local, and factors affecting. So first one is global wind. As I said, global winds are commonly which is happening in the system. There are two major forces which determine the speed and the direction. So in which region we are getting a higher value and which region it is lower value. It is like proportionality, higher potential to the lower potential. So when you consider our earth as a globe, we divide it as a 4 sectors, 4 poles: north pole, south pole, east and west. So normally north and south will be the highest addressing points. So similarly in the case, one region will act as a polar region, another region will act as a heating region. So heating region and cooling region. So both will be merged, means heated area will try to transfer the heat to the cold region. Similarly, the cold region are responsible to send the cold nature to the heating area. So that's what they say. The primary force for global winds, where we will get, which is the force, how waves will be, like wind waves will be generated, means the primary force for global winds is mainly developed due to differential heating of the earth at equatorial and polar regions. One area is very cold, one area is equatorially high. So there it will going to take up the force for changing or exchanging of a heat from higher region to the lower region. So that's what they say. In the tropical region, there is a net gain of heat due to solar radiation. You are going to have a high heat net gain. Similarly, in polar region, of course, it is a cold area. We will have a much heat loss, net loss of a heat. This means that your Earth atmosphere has to circulate to transport heat from tropics towards the pole. Means how the movement will be takes place. In one region, we have a net gain. In one region, I have a net loss. And this is responsible for circulating the heat from one point to another point. On a global scale, this atmospheric current works as a immense energy transfer media. So this is with respect to globalization, not with one point. It is of a globalization where we can connect. Okay. Just a minute. I think Sharath is not able to join.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next in that there are two different cases. So there are two different kinds of waves are existing. One is called Hartley circulation and Rossby circulation. You can see at the equilateral portion, your wave movement will be in a different manner. You can see the direct arrow marks you can see. So equilateral is the center port where we have a 30-degree from the south, it is approaching to the equilateral area. Similarly, from 30-degree north, they are approaching the area. This is called trade winds. Okay, they are acting at wind. So this we call it as a Hartley circulation. It look like a box from here to here, from here to here, they are moving it. But another two, you can see at the top and bottom of a north and south, your waves are looking like a snake. The continuous movement you can find it. And that we call it as a Rossby circulation. Means these two, Rossby circulation and Hartley circulation are responsible for your global circulating wind. So somewhat look like a sociology, that is geometry subject what we study. See this winds form a wave-like circulation. So this is like wave-like circulation which transfers cold air in the southward region and warm air in the northward direction. Means we know north hemisphere, south hemisphere. So like heated area will try to send the cold heat to the colder region. Similarly, the completely coolest area try to receive the heat in and from the other junction. So you can say north hemisphere and south hemisphere. And this pattern, that is a wave pattern of circulating the heat in the global system, we call it as a Rossby circulation. This is one of the important things we have to remember. First one is. Next we have local winds. I think up to global yesterday we have done. So local wind, of course, we'll just see about the region, place. On that place, we'll justify what is that local wind. Localized uneven heating is responsible for local winds. See, suddenly you can judge when the rain will come. Suddenly your temperature reduces, it becomes cloudy, or sometimes you have a high blowing of air. So that gives you a specification. Yes, now it's going to rain. Now I'm going to have a high wind. So this specification, we can visualize the system. So that's what they say. The localized uneven heating system can be responsible for your local winds. Sometimes it look like so sunny, but still rainy nature will going to happen. That is due to cloud condition. Uneven heating is responsible for that variation in a system. So first is differential heating of land surface and water bodies due to solar radiation. Definitely ocean area, sea area, you can find the difference of temperature. See, let us assume we are going for swimming pool for a playing purpose and outside it is too hot. But if you stand inside of water, will you feel that heat? No, because we are standing in water, that temperature is compensating and we feel moderated. We will not feel much heat at all. After coming out from the swimming pool or maybe in the sea water, if you go out, you will feel the reality, is it? So we are finding the differences. Land temperature difference, water body difference due to solar radiation will be differs. So during the day, your solar energy is readily converted to sensible thermal energy on the land surface and this quickly increases its temperature. It's a common sense. Not only for a things or a land, for us also. If it is too sunny, we people will afraid to go out. If not also, we will wear sunglasses, sunscreen lotions and umbrella, everything. Why? Because if you go so much in a sunlight, it will be tanned, that is first thing, and it is not bearable. We feel dehydrated. Similarly, here also that sunlight will going to create temperature change in a human body, similarly in the area where it present. Then whereas on the water bodies, it is partially consumed in evaporating water and only partial absorbed to cause an increase in the temperature. Definitely, right? These 2 points are acceptable. See, when high temperature is there, what happens? See, for cloths and all, we'll put it for drying. Sun is a direct source for us. So it will take up the water. That as one is absorption. And your clothes will be dried. And at the same time, in the afternoon, if you take off your dried clothes, you can feel the temperature. So that's what water bodies, anywhere in water bodies, some of the things will be taken up, absorbed, and some of the things will be left out in terms of heat. Normally, if you keep 1 bucket of water in your terrace, particularly in the afternoon, 11 o'clock to just 12 o'clock, 1 hour is enough. You can feel the same temperature what you get it on the stove. after after boiling the water using a fire. That much of heat can be done, but quantity wise, some quantity or 1 glass or 2 glass of water will be evaporated, but remaining heat will be transferred there. So that is the actual effect of sun rays on the surface. Then the land mass thus become hotter than water, which causes differential heating of air above them. So here what happens, the evaporation is less as compared to the temperature which is increased on the surface of a land. So that's what that difference will going to create the circulation of heat in the atmosphere, and that responsible for making the system hot or cold. But here cold nature is less compared to the heat. So as a result, cool, heavier blows from the water towards land. So there is a movement. Again, whenever you have a cold air, hot air will try to accumulate. It will try to make the cold combination into be heat. See, it's normally for drinking water. Most of them are preferred uh, hot water, but not so much hotter. But of course, doctor prescribes don't mix up cold water and hot water. But we are fed up. We definitely mix hot and cold, and we'll try to make it as a moderator. So it will take much cold water to minimize the temperature of a hot water. Is it? So similarly here also blows and the water, cold water from your water body to the heated area. And in night it is the reverse. We don't have a sunlight. Then how it will be done? The direction of the wind is reversed as the land mass cools to sky more rapidly than the water. Now it is different. In the night, we don't have a sun to increase the land temperature. Your land temperature is lesser than the temperature of the water bodies. So now again the reverse process will take place. Water bodies will responsible for increasing the heat in the system. And this whole mechanism, morning your land temperature will be more than the water bodies. In the night, water bodies temperature will be more than the land. So this two process of causing the wind, we call it as a shore breeze. Okay, next another mechanism we have. What is the second mechanism of local winds? That is differentiate heating of slopes on the hillsides and that of a lowlands. Of course, hill, you can see summer season and all people will try to go for hill station. If you go up, somewhere you feel okay, more air. Is it more air will be going to circulate? So that's what they're taking the two difference. One is of a hill station, another one is a normal land. So the slopes heat up during the day and cools down during the night more rapidly than the lowland. Now there is a two circulation again. Morning hill station will be heated up, land will be lesser cool. So now circulation from hotter to the lower land. In the reverse process, night land will be more and the top will be less. So this causes the heated air to rise along the slope during the day and relatively cool air to follow down at the night. So two cases. One is with land and water bodies. Second one is hill stations with lower land. These two mechanisms are responsible for the exchange of heat to cause the local winds. So this is an uneven heating, right? Uneven heating should happen. Then only you will find a difference in temperature, difference in density, different in pressure to cause the wind. Okay, next factor affecting distribution of wind energy on the surface of earth. Which are all the factors? So we are simply saying, okay, heat if it is increased, heat if it is decreased, then wind will be going to develop. But which are all the major factors are affecting? There are several factors. Let's see what and all. First one, several factors are responsible for distribution of wind energy on the surface of the earth. It's medias. Media is also very, very important. It's like a permeability and permittivity. If you want to have a more flux lines, your permeability should be good. Then it will assess all the things to all the flux to move in the surface. So same here, your distribution of wind will be get affected by the things which are present on the surface of the earth. Then some factors work globally while others have limited local influence. See, as I said, when we were kid, we used to play with the small fans, fan kind of a things. If we eat a chocolate, we used to get a fan kind of a thing. Just a minute. So limitations, in a sense, we can create sometimes forcefully, as we say, forcefully we can increase, or sometimes you can create the barrier to reduce the influence, other influence to increase the system. That's what say some factors work globally while others have a limited local influence. Then both the global and local factors influences the availability of wind energy at a particular site. And wind energy, like wind plants, cannot be installed wherever we wish. Again, here also site assessment we have to do. We have to get a permission from the government if you're going for a wider range at all, which place, which area, what must be the speed, because we don't want lower and higher value. We want just a moderated. So that's what they consider, both the parameter, local area parameter, where it is located, what is the condition. Similarly, global system, globally, that is north hemisphere and southern hemisphere, that circulation of air, all parameters should be considered. And the last, the extent of influence of each factor varies from site to site. Site to site means we know that some are at hill station, some are at lower land. So that also plays a very important. If we windmills means normally we see the hilltops, because wind blow will be more compared to the lower land areas. That's what, that is also one of the important factor where you can get influenced for the wind energy. Global, local, and combine both global and local. Finally, the place, that is a site what you select for implementing. Then on the planetary level, great mountain masses influences the circulation of air currents, is it? Then surface roughness, like how, what is the nature of a land? Is it a rough, is it a smooth? So you need to going to create the friction. Just a minute, Papu. Okay, surface roughness of friction owing to the resistance that different elements of the earth's surface offer to air circulation affects the nature of a wind. So depending upon the surfaces, so if you have a rough and the friction creating, so then the circulation of air will be more as compared to the softness. Then hills, trees, buildings, and similar obstructions inspire streamlined airflow. Hill station, of course, you can get the good wind, but trees, buildings, what will they do? They will act as an obstruct and they will try to avoid the flow of air frequently. Then turbulence results and wind velocity in a horizontal direction gets marked reduced. Wind velocity, speed, as we say, speed, velocity is nothing but meter per second, so acceleration is meter per second square. So here that movement is also very important, in which side it is flowing, is it against to the system or it is favoring to the system, and that is responsible for system to say you have a good wind velocity or less wind velocity. Then frictional effect is less on smooth areas, as I said, friction, roughness, smooth, less on smooth area such as seas or large open areas, or more in rough urban areas with the tall buildings or trees. Surface area means it is not visible. We are going to assume it with the obstacles which are present in the surface. Friction effect is loss on smooth areas, in the sense you can consider watery portion, water area, seas, oceans, this open areas you can consider. Then the last with roughness, your buildings, your urban areas, crowded trees, crowded forest. Then therefore wind speed is quite high near the seashores. Seashores, definitely right. You can feel it. Wave winds also be high, and wind is also more in the sea because it's the open surface. If you don't have any building, nothing will be there. Normally in Bangalore also, you stay in one site where you don't have anything on the surrounding, you can feel highest wind. Or you go and stand near your terrace, you can feel, because it acts as an open surface where don't have an obstacle, then the speed of a wind will be higher than the speed if you stand in the balcony of your house. So there are variety of obstacles which is not visible for us sometimes, which are going to avoid the flow of a wind in a system. Okay. Next, climate disturbances such as downdraw from what is the thunder clouds and the perceptions also affect the local winds. Then wind speed also increases while passing through narrow mountain gaps where it is get channeled. So this is one is climate. So depending upon the place climate, you can say what is the effect. Sometimes it will be too high. So before getting a rain, you can feel the high wind. So that gives the symptoms. Okay, next moment we are going to get a rain here. So that cloud variation will going to specify what type of effect on the system, and that we call the local wind. Next one is wind speed also increases. This is on the mountains, mountain gaps. You can consider the hill station where space between two, there is like a narrow space, and that acts as a high channel for increasing the wind speed. Means you are blowing in a balloon. You consider just example balloon. See, we are blowing it. You are forcefully giving a filling the gas, or forcefully you are knowing it, the air will be accumulated in one space. So what will happen? Definitely the speed will look higher in compared to the normal space. So this is for the last case, nature of winds. I think